It's a good app.
Does it like automatically record the visual?
Yeah, so basically up in the upper right corner, I just triggered it. It goes right to YouTube and it records over there. It also records on and also Street Zone too, but it all ties in.
That's insane.
It's got a lot of cool features I haven't used yet. It can do roll-in video. It can do countdowns. It can do you see I do a little bit of graphic on top, but it can do a bunch of other stuff too. I haven't really grown into that part yet.
I gotta invest in this for my podcast for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, so we got some people here. They're filtering in. If you want to get started, if you want to wait a little bit, it's up to you. We got
so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, how many people we got on? You want me to wait a couple minutes?
Yeah. Let's give it like 5 or 10 minutes. We have about 15 people online. We got about 5 or 10 people here. So let's give it a few more minutes. See who we got.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, man.
Because one thing, normally we start at 7:30. This one said 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I apologize. They're always used to showing up at 7:30, so I forgot I did this one wrong. I apologize for that. So yeah, just hang out a few minutes. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. So we're starting a little early tonight. I messed up the time, but Eric's a friend of mine. He does land flipping and a bunch of other stuff, primarily focused on land. We got about 10, 15 people online, crowd here, probably people on the coast. So why don't you go ahead and do your thing? We're rolling.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see anybody, so I don't know if it's like another thing I'm supposed to be looking at.
Whoa. Oh, I see. So when I do that, when I do this, it makes it so it doesn't. Okay, never mind. Hang on.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm talking to myself. That's kind of weird, man.
Yeah, but let me make sure you're the biggest thing here. Otherwise,
Okay.
I guess we'll do that.
Oh, I could. Oh, cool. That's cool. I can see everything now.
Yeah. It's kind of a split screen, but whatever. Okay. I'm new to this thing. I haven't figured it all out yet.
All right. So, I guess I'll just jump right into it. I want to say thank you to Steve for even inviting me on this platform. I know I have a small brand, so it's like any opportunity I get to talk to a group of people, whether it's virtual or in real life, is always a blessing. So my name is Eric Phillips. Eric M. I don't know. It's a long story why that's my name on Facebook and platforms and things like that. So I put my name there so you guys can search me up if you want to find me. But my name is Eric Phillips. I've been investing in real estate since I want to say about 2019. So I'm not an OG like Steve is or nothing, but I'm all right. All right. So I started off I did like one single family house like early on. I found out about wholesaling real estate through actually the Breakfast Club. It's a radio show that I might have heard about. There's a guy on there talking about wholesaling. I watched it, and then like 3 weeks later, I had my first real estate deal. But in that time frame, I was living in Palm Coast, Florida, and I realized really quick that doing single family houses was something that was a little bit challenging because of where I was. So I was like, I wanted to quickly find a niche that I could really dominate in. And in that time frame, I realized I was seeing a lot of mobile homes, like in that area in Florida, especially like in like the Jacksonville, Florida area. There's a lot of mobile homes just going up and through that, up into US 1. It's a lot. And I was like, I see them, but can I make money in them? I quickly transitioned to flipping and doing wholesaling with mobile homes, buying and flipping them, things like that. And I loved it. All right, it was insane. And then I did that for I want to say I did mobile homes for probably like a year straight. That was it. I was like all in on that. In that time frame, I was doing a like raising capital for another developer at the same time. So that's when I started to learn about land. I met a friend named Gary. He's out in Charlotte. He was already doing nothing but wholesaling land. So I kind of started connecting the dots, and I was like, oh, I already got the systems. I can go crazy, right? And that was my start. So that was really great. I don't know, Steve, are you on here, or am I supposed to? Are we like, is it like a question, or like, am I just gonna just keep going?
Steve went to the bathroom.
Okay, cool. So I didn't know how this thing was. Like Steve just threw me in the water, right? So yeah, so that was my start into the business. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. That's kind of where I kind of went to high school at, things like that. But I started my real estate journey in the Central Florida area, Northeast Florida. And then, I've kind of been peeking back and forth ever since then. And what I'm here to kind of talk about is just this land business. The business has, changed my life. I've since starting, I went from not knowing anything about it to now I'm doing stuff in 3-4 different states. All virtual. I don't even have to leave the house like that, which is really great, especially with the fact that with houses and other niches, you have to deal with tenants. You have to deal with a lot of physical aspects that, you don't have to deal with Florida. When I was doing mobile homes, one of the things that was stressing me out was the fact that I had to meet every single last person I did business with in person. And if I'm doing 2, 3, 4 deals a week, that was a lot. You know, I would have to navigate around. It was stressful. But when I discovered land, I really realized I can do this completely virtual, and I just went all in. I've done a lot of different projects with other developers. Have wholesale stuff to national builders, spec home builders, mom and pop builders. So yeah, it's been a blessing.
So when you're doing the land flipping, are you actually doing a standard wholesale situation? You're putting it under contract and turning it around? Is that kind of the methodology, or?
So there's multiple ways to do it. That is one way. Like that's kind of how I started. Really, is like like a traditional wholesale deal. You find the property, and then you find a buyer, and you kind of just like middleman in it technically, right? What I learned is really quick, because I was, like I said, I was doing mobile homes before I was doing land, that it's easier for you to find a buyer first, and reverse engineer it. So this was like 2019, 2020 or something like that. So before COVID and all that, I had a pipeline of mobile home buyers in the market, because I had a Facebook ad campaign that would go and it would collect information from people from when they were interested in buying a mobile home. I realized that a lot of those people were actually interested in land as well, because that's how I did my first land wholesale deal. So I got a mobile home under contract. It was in Jacksonville, Florida. And basically what happened was the guy was going to sell the mobile home off the land, and he was going to keep the land and replace the mobile home with another one. A lot of people don't know this, but if you have a mobile home, if it's considered personal property, you can get rid of it. You can swap it out. You can do all types of stuff. So that's what he was going to do. And I actually wholesaled the mobile home, and he ended up calling me back about the land. He was like, I'm actually thinking about selling the land too. He said, do you guys buy land? And I just lied. I said, yeah. I didn't know anything about land at the time, but I definitely was like, yeah, I could do it. I could help you get it sold. I could help you figure it out. And then I got the land under contract, and I already had a huge pipeline of people who were looking to make purchases. So then I sat down with him and then the buyer. So it wasn't even a funny business. I just was like, hey, I mean, I was pretty much connecting the dots there. And then I ended up wholesaling that deal. So I ended up wholesaling the mobile home and the land at one time. And that blew me away. So with land, you can do the same thing that you could do with houses or commercial. You can, find you can find buyers the same way, similar ways, and then get the parcel under contract. And then you can just simply assign it to the buyer based off of what they need to be built.
Okay. All right. So what kind of when you're looking for land, or you're just looking for, so your buyers are saying, I want 40 acres here? Is that the way it's going, or
yeah.
Type of land, commercial, whatever?
Yeah. So basically, since land has a lot of different niches. You have like residential, you have commercial, you got recreational, you got rural, you got a lot of different zonings that somebody might be interested in. Everything that we have built out here has some type of zoning that is needed to build it, right? So what my strategy is, I go and I figure out who wants what. I have buyers who are buying stuff that's just a simple infill lot. I got buyers who are buying 20, 30, 50 acres. I have I got people who are looking to build industrial buildings and things like that. So you really just kind of understanding what they're looking for, because developers have a specific thing that they're looking to do. It's not, most of them have like an end goal, or at least they should, of what they're looking to build when they get the land. So what you do is I'm just pretty much finding what that goal is, and then I'm going to go hunt for it, and then I'm bringing it to them, and they'll decide if they want to take it down and buy it and build it and move on from there, or not. You can even do this with hunting land, which is another niche, you can do it with. But Yeah, you can do it that way. So that's how I've been kind of working it. Yeah.
So Eric, it's Eric, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. So you don't put anything on the contract and then try to sell it. You actually advertise to people like developers or someone's looking to build on some land, and then you go find it.
Yeah. So let's say if one of you guys in here build houses, right? I would I'm gonna talk to you on the phone, I'm gonna email you, text you, however we get in contact. I'm gonna figure out exactly what you want. Let's say you want to say, hey, I wanna start building duplexes all over the city, right? I'm gonna figure out exactly what that is, and then I'm gonna reverse engineer it and go find some land that's compatible with what you're looking for.
So you're gonna look up the
You know?
zoning.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna tell me, yes, Mike, it's zoned for townhouses or it's zoned for.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's ways to look up and that's another thing that's great about this. Everything is public information. So I can look up and know the zoning of every single parcel in the country. Right. So if you are looking to build some duplexes and I find a parcel, I can look up to see what the zoning is. And I can come to you and say, hey, I found a lot that I think would be good. I know that you can build duplexes on it, and you can find out this information through public databases, GIS maps, and you can also find advanced information by just simply calling the county. So I can call the county and figure out if it has utilities already on lot, what needs to be done for them to build, and then I can call the buyer and say, hey, listen, I got a lot right now that's suitable for you to build a duplex. Here's the price, and then whatever the price difference is between the seller and what the buyer is willing to pay for it, that's my assignment fee. So if I get it under contract for $20,000 and I find the buyer, he says he'll buy it for, I don't know, 30, when we go to the title company, I'm gonna take home 10. The seller's gonna get what they want, and the buyer gets the land, if that makes sense.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing as wholesaling. I just
Mhm.
wanted to have. I wanted to know if you put the land. I see how you do it. You say it's reverse, so you're not actually just going to get all these properties under contract and then find buyers. You find the buyers, and then you're going to hunt down the land.
Right. Now that's ideal, right? Now I will say, like, me personally, I've been doing this long enough to where I trust myself. I can go out here and get land under contract, not have a buyer in mind, and know that I can get a buyer to buy it because I know the power. I know what this land is worth, right? I know how to run proper due diligence on the land for me to know the development potential. So not all the time do I have a buyer necessarily for it. Most of the time I do, though. I have a whole database full of buyers, pretty much nationwide at this point, but I have a huge database full of buyers. So even if I don't have somebody in mind immediately, I can find somebody throughout my network. So I always say find the buyers first. It just makes it easy. But the truth is, a good deal, if you know how to run due diligence on it and you know that you got a solid deal, you can find a buyer for it, for sure.
So Eric, how do you find your buyers? You mentioned Facebook before. Do you do anything else? You just run Facebook campaigns, or what do you do?
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways. So one way, let's say if you want to go for spec home builders or just home builders, because like I said, there are multiple different types of home buyers. I mean, not home buyers, but land buyers. And everybody have different uses. So let's say if we want to focus on the niche of finding people who want to build houses solely for that. A lot of people know this. There's a builders association pretty much every county in the country. So you can literally Google the builders association and you'll see a list of builders that'll pop up. Now, not all of them probably work with you. I don't know. I can't say that all of them will work with you, but there will be some that's on that list that don't mind buying a deal from a wholesaler, right? So that's a whole buyer database right there. Now they also have like different platforms that you can pull buyers from, such as PropStream, you got PropWire, you got these different platforms that you can pull buyers from. Me personally, we'll talk. I was gonna wait to talk about this. I have my own AI software that I built myself, so I can find buyers that way. But you can use public databases, county records as well. Will kind of show who's buying what in what areas. You can skip trace it, get their phone number, emails, and then cold call them or email them, or however you want to do that, and then go from there.
So if I'm looking for land, I can tell you what I'm looking for in what area, and you'll track it down.
Yep.
Trying to figure out, do I go to you or do I go to a realtor?
So the reason somebody will come to me versus going to a realtor, most agents don't know enough about land to know what it's really worth. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that, but
Brian.
Listen, man, I got some good friends as agents. I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, the reason somebody would come to me versus an agent is because you have to have it's all about who has the systems. The old way of thinking where the agent knows more than somebody like me is outdated. I have the systems and the experience to find land at week off market, exclusive deals that haven't been on the market. Most agents don't have this capability.
Better price.
Right. So I can get it for a better price. Plus, if it's somebody who's mean, I'm not gonna say every wholesaler, right? I'm not gonna do that, right? But if it's somebody who's like me, I'm bringing you an actual deal, meaning it's actually less than market value, versus somebody else who's an agent. I mean, the more the house, I mean, it's just different. They're not. I'm not gonna talk down on them because, like I said, there are some great agents out here, but it's more of a specialized skill where I have the ability and the systems and the team to find off-market land whenever I need it. I know exactly how to run due diligence. I have good friends who are developers or builders or whatever, so I know how to kind of put that together. Not every agent can say that, so that's why a lot of them will come to me, especially like if you call a lot of home builders, they want the land at the cheapest price. They don't want you to send them stuff that's already available on the market. Everybody already seen it. So it's better for you to get off market. You got exclusivity.
We'll talk offline.
I'm sorry, you said what?
I'll talk to you offline.
He'll talk to you later.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I forgot the mic for the back room, but he's back there.
Yeah.
So we have a question came in online about your AI software. Is this something you use exclusively, or are you selling it, or?
Yeah. So I was gonna wait until the end, but yeah, I have I built an AI software that does a lot that I don't even know if I have enough time on this on this stream to tell y'all all the tools that it has. I'm just being honest, right? So what this tool does, it is available. I'm sorry, you said what?
We can do a whole separate in-depth on the actual what it does, but I just wanted to know something you marketing, right?
Yeah. So right now, what I've been doing is it's available. It's not like it's a link in my bio. You have to reach out to me personally for right now because it completely sold out when I posted it. But what I created is an AI bot that will teach you how to invest in land. All right. So you have a mentor right there on your phone. So you can talk to it like a regular person. The cool thing about it is it's synced to ChatGPT. If y'all don't know what that is, definitely check it out. And it clones my personality. So like the way it's talking, very straightforward. It might throw in a couple corny jokes or something, but it's very it talks like an actual human when you're talking to it, right? So you can go on there and you can, have a conversation, ask questions about land, and it's like me, but on steroids. So it has the capability of somebody who has over 20 to 25 years of development experience. It's a custom code that I created. I copyrighted. I've been using it for over a year. I just didn't want to roll it out until I had everything done, like legal, with the legal stuff and copyright and all that. But it'll teach you how to do that. Now, the cool thing about it is that's like one of probably hundreds of different advantages that it gives you. Not only will you learn how to invest in land by using it, you'll also get certain tools that's embedded in it through a custom code. So let's say, like how I said, you know, you can find buyers. You can literally ask my bot, are there buyers looking, who's actively buying in my market that's looking for land? It'll spit out who is likely to buy land in that market, who's home buyers or home builders or whatever, right? The other thing too is that most people, like I said, with agents, most of them don't know enough about land to really do well in it, right? With my system, a person who doesn't know anything about land can learn how to comp land instantly, because all they have to do is ask my bot, and it'll give them recent comps in the area. It'll tell them what's the recommended offer price. It'll also tell them like what else? Yeah, it'll give them an offer recommended offer price. It'll tell them if there's any red flags with the land that they should be aware of. If, you know, going off of the details that the person provides. It has an embedded deal analyzer tool where if you don't know how to analyze a deal, it'll break that down to the penny, and it'll also tell you, it'll give you a flip score if it's a good deal or bad deal or not. It'll give you a flip score. It has a hotspot map indicator, tells you where all the hottest places are across the country. It has a lot of other stuff. It'll teach you how to subdivide land if you want to do that. You can do it. It'll walk you through entitlements if you wanted to learn that side. Creative financing. It has an embedded calculator there. So yeah, it's really, really powerful.
Cool.
And what do you charge?
Right now it's a one-time fee of $97. And that's honestly, I really was I posted it for $27 as a joke and sold out in like a couple minutes. Posted $47 as a joke because I knew people were gonna doubt me because I don't have a big brand, and that sold out in a couple minutes. And then I upped to 97, and it sold out last night. But I was like, I guess I'll keep it up again. Guess I'll keep it up for a day before I drastically up the price, because the kicker is this is 1.0 that I already have that's live. 2.0 is already almost done. So that'll be rolled out soon. Eventually we'll have like our own app and interface and all that. But yeah, I'm like really close to launching that. So yeah.
So we buy 1.0 and then one-time fee, and then you build 2.0. Do I automatically upgrade or?
So here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing about the way I have it structured. So with 1.0, I can make updates in real time. So let's say if you had an idea and you're like, hey, can you figure out if we can do this? I may be able to make a change in the back end to make it perform the way you want. So for what 1.0, it's getting better every single day, because one of the things that it does is it tracks behavior. So the more people who are using it, the more questions they're asking, the bot kind of tracks the behavior, and it'll kind of give me more recommendations to improve it. So the other day, I had a live yesterday, pretty much showing everybody a walkthrough, a demo of it, and then right when I got off the call, I was able to add 4 more tools, right? That I already had, so I can add it up in one time. So 1.0, it'll be active, you know, it'll always be there. You know, you're grandfathered in to use it for 1.0 as an early user. 2.0, however, more than likely will have to have a monthly subscription, only because of the data that's going to be embedded there is just too powerful for me to do it that way. But it's not like 1.0 will decease. 1.0 will still be there. You can still use it. I'll still make updates to 1.0. It's just 2.0 will be a little bit different because of the power of it. It's just not possible for me to have it on that platform.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the downsides? So somebody else messaged in. What are the downsides of land flipping as opposed to
Get your ass sued.
other modules? And I realize if you have your buyer, really, if you have your buyer and you go that way, probably less downside. But if you just do it the traditional wholesale way,
Mhm.
is land flipping more dangerous because you've got more money on the line for 30, 40 acres? Or, you know,
I would say if I'm comparing it to, let's say, houses, I'm not being funny when I say this. I don't really believe there's a true downside. I think that the difference is like when we talk about like with land, the due diligence process that you go through is similar to houses, but it's really different. Like, so you're able to figure out if some land is good or not before you close on that deal, right? So let's say if I get 10 acres, like right now I have 10 acres on a contract in Florida in Pasco County, right? I don't know how many lots. I got a lot of lots on the contract right now, but that's just one that I'm really hyper focused on right now. And that deal, we have a whole due diligence process that we'll go through before we close on a parcel. That way we know that it can build, that it can get approved by the county for what we want to build, and it'll also that it's suitable. You know, that the soil is good, those things, and that way we know that we're not minimizing our risk before we close on a deal. Now with houses, what tends to happen is people get houses on the contract, and there's a lot of unexpected things. You might have thought that it was going to cost you, I don't know, 70 grand to renovate the house, and it might turn out to be 125 or something crazy, and now you're kind of in the red. With land, you can take your time a little bit more just because it takes time to close on it. Another thing too, I would say, to answer your question, I might have talked in a circle a little bit because I had to think about it. One thing I can say that is a downside or something to watch out for with land is really knowing your zoning, your due diligence process, and knowing how to calculate like soft costs. Having the right team that knows what they're doing. You know, I see a lot of developers. I talk to them every day who are getting these lots. They're getting them on a contract. They're putting a bunch of money into it, because they're underestimating how much it's going to cost them to get the approvals done, or the necessary utilities or things like that, and they end up in a situation where they get capped out on funds. And then they have to sell a deal off to somebody else or get a partner or a scramble or something, right? So utilities is a big thing. Have an understanding of that. You know, there's a lot of that goes on in the industry that you have to know about. And what else? I think and financing. Financing can be tricky sometimes, depending on what you're trying to do.
okay.
What about rezoning? Like in your experience, how hard is it to get something rezoned from one zoning to a different zoning?
So that's actually a great question. The thing I would say is this: that varies from county to county and what exactly you're trying to rezone the land into. So, like, I'll give you a real world example. I have a deal that I'm looking at. It's in, I think it's in Sanford, Florida. Well, a friend of mine, Priscilla, sent it to me yesterday, and I was looking at it. The deal is pretty much a situation where the parcel is close to the airport, right? So in order for the deal to get rezoned, I would have to get the approvals from the city, the county, and then the airport, literally, to even get it rezoned, right? So that'd be a tough thing to do, to get 3 different entities to really get to give me the permission to rezone this into a townhome development, right? When it's right here next to residential property, it's insane, right? So rezoning can be tough in some counties, and it all depends on what specifically you're trying to rezone it to. So that I'll always say this, like if it's a parcel that's like next to or nearby other properties that are similar, let's say you got a property that's zone agriculture and it's next to a development, the chances of you getting that rezoned to residential to something that you can do for a multifamily development or something like that is very likely in comparison to you trying to turn a commercial zoning into residential. Just depending on where it's at. All the counties are different and everywhere pretty much. The timelines can be tricky. There are application fees that you might have to be aware of, permit fees. There's things that can go into that. The timeline as well. Some counties, it can be really quick, and there are counties like I'm looking at a deal in Pasco County. It's going to take us probably like 9 months before I can even rezone the project. So it kind of varies from county to county, but it's something that is public info, and you can talk to the county about it. And that's what makes it good, is that you can talk to somebody who works for the county and just call them and ask them about all of the inner workings of rezoning something for that county. You can figure out the future land use. If it has the potential to be rezoned to another thing, you can kind of get some heads up from them.
So that land stays under contract until I figure out zoning and everything else? Soil test, whatever?
Yeah, at least that's what I recommend.
So you're not getting paid for 9 months down the road then, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, so there are ways, it depends on the buyer, if I'm wholesaling it or what my intentions are with it, that will determine when I'm getting paid and all that. So the way I do it is, so let's say if I break it up, right? And I'm only using this example because it's just fresh on my mind because I was just talking about it earlier. It's a deal I was talking about. I have 10 acres right now. It's under contract. I think we have it for $2.4 million in Pasco County, Florida. Right now, this parcel is going to require me to rezone it. Then I'm going to have to go. I have to do the entitlement process to get the approvals from the county. It takes 3 months and just due diligence. So I won't close on the land for about 18 months, give or take. That there's nothing that stops the process for us to get that done. Right. Now, if I'm wholesaling the deal, there are ways for me to get paid, a little bit beforehand, but it would probably be after the due diligence period is done. So let's say if I have it in the contract to where the due diligence process is, let's say it's 90 days or 120 days, right? I can negotiate with my buyer to say, hey, I want my assignment fee, or at least a portion of my assignment fee after the due diligence period. So I might get paid a lump sum right there, and then another way to get paid when the deal closes, when a buyer does it. That's if I'm wholesaling it, right? There are also opportunities where you can partner with some of these builders and kind of get like some type of equity percentage in the development. There's ways that you can do that as well. And it all varies on what the deal is, deal to deal in a way, because I got some deals where I can get it sold in a week, in 2 weeks or something, or a month, It just all depends on the zoning, the actual deal. It has so many ins and outs. And there's multiple different niches in a land space, which I really like.
Now, I have a question. You mentioned you need a team. So that team of key people, who are those key people to make this deal happen?
Okay. Sorry, my bad. My dog ran into the room, so that's why y'all can say hi to Frenchie.
No.
My little nephew. Go ahead. So I'll just go ahead and break down my team, what I consider a team, right? So when let's say you want first you have to figure out what your end goal is. That's the most important thing. That's what's going to determine how you build your team, right? So if you're looking to be nothing but a land wholesaler, I would say the people on your team are going to be probably local agents, people who probably come across land and don't know what they're doing with it. they could be a part of your team. That's somebody that would be good. Maybe somebody who can handle acquisitions or dispositions, which is, finding the land, talking to the seller, or talk to the buyer. You got some people who have small teams where it's just them and maybe, one other person, or some people who are solo people. I'm a team guy, so that's how I go into it. So that's really all you would need if you were doing like land wholesaling, right? Where you're just finding the land, finding a buyer. Your team is the buyers, maybe like a mentor, somebody who can kind of help guide you, teach you, give you some ins and outs. Local agents, just because they have a lot of good market insight. I like to talk to a lot of brokers, people like that. Maybe other wholesalers, people who you like, and trust. I'm not saying trust every wholesaler. I don't even trust every wholesaler. I don't even work with that many of them, to be honest. So I'm just putting that red flag out there, right? Before y'all start doing that. But that would be like a core team that you could have for just wholesaling land. Now, if you want to take it up another level, right? Let's say you want to say, all right, I want to do entitlements. Now, entitlements, that's pretty much where you're getting the necessary approvals for the land before you sell it. So let's say if something can fit, like how I was talking about 10 acres that I'm working on, that parcel is suitable for about 80 lots, right? 80 lots can fit on there. A townhome development can fit on there. I can take the land through the entitlement process and get the approvals done by the county that says this land is suitable for this development, and we stamp and approve it, right? The moment you get that stamp and approval, that increases the land value. Why? Because you just saved somebody else a year and a half of doing that deal, or 6 months, or however long it took you to do that. You done saved them so much time and money to get that done. In order for you to do that, my team, I talked to a land attorney, somebody who is somebody who a land use attorney, my bad. Somebody who knows the area. That's a surveyor, an engineer, people like that can kind of help me get the actual process done. There are also entitlement agencies, people who have already in-house companies where you bring them the land, y'all figure out how much it's going to cost to get it done, and they'll do that part for you. For me personally, my team, like I said, I like to walk into every county or every place I'm in and have multiple exit strategies. Like, I don't personally believe in being a one-trick pony. Like, that left me in a bad situation before. So, I like to have multiple exit strategies. So whenever I go into a county or I go into a new state or whatever, I know a couple of agents that I think are good. I find some of those. I find people, other developers who are moving and shaking in that market. I find consultants that I think, are knowledgeable about the market, or, that can kind of help me. I kind of help them. I find, like I said, other wholesalers that they can be an asset as well. So that's really the core of what you need. When I say a team, it's not like you got to have 50 people that work up under you. Nah, you can have yourself and just a VA. One person who's just sitting there cold calling all day. You can do that if you wanted to do it. So there's multiple ways, but it all depends on what your end goal is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, if you target a market, how do you find the hot market? I want to find the hot markets.
Yeah. So not everybody does it this way, but this is how I do it. Most people who are trying to probably invest in land, a lot of them nowadays, they're just going on Zillow and seeing how many lots sold somewhere. That's not how I do it. The way I do it, I always say, think like a developer. Like, that's my rule. So what I like to do is I like to go and look and research everything about a place. So I like to know what the population density is. Is it a growing population? Is it declining? I want to know, is the job market good? Is it declining? If there's anything that's coming to that area that might make it more attractive for people to live there, that's always a green flag to me. If I see that other national builders are there, a super green flag. just because most developers, small developers, you're gonna feel safe if you follow what a big company like D.R. Horton is doing. You know, like imagine if you bought a piece of land next to a D.R. Horton development that's right next to it, you're gonna feel pretty good about buying that land, right? So I always say follow what the developers are doing. That's the best way to pick a market. The other thing too is me personally, pay attention to the economy. Like as you can see, the cost of living is rising like crazy, right? So what's one of the things that's happening? You're starting to see a lot more people being like, you know what, maybe living in this little area is a little more expensive. So what do? They start to venture out more. There's a lot more people living on the outskirts of major cities than ever before because of the fact that the cost of living is so high in these metropolitan cities. So people start to venture out. So I always say this right now, if you want to find a market, find any major city across the country, go about 30 minutes out. 30 minutes out because people feel comfortable driving to work 30 minutes out, you know? And developers are always looking for the next hot opportunity for them to get some cheaper land, for them to take advantage of it before they get swamped. So you're pretty much just following them. That's one way. You know, you can also kind of check and see like how fast or slow land is selling in a particular place. All this is public information. Or if you hit me up, you know, you can get my bot, it'll tell you too. But that's one. But yeah, that's a lot of it is public information. You can kind of look and see how fast or slow something is selling in certain areas. But like I said, if you go based off of those criteria, you'll be really, really good in finding a market for sure.
In most places, it's public information, but let's just say I wanted to target like DFW area, right? Texas is a non-disclosure state, so how do you like? What's the best way around that? Is just work with the local realtor that has MLS access?
Yeah, so let's say like if it's Texas, right? Now Texas, you said it's a non-disclosure state. You might not be able to see like how much something sold, but you can still look up the activity, right? Like I just seen recently. I'm not sure where it is, but so I got a deal in Georgetown, Texas that it's been a big pain for me to sell right now because it's so big. But there's like a Tesla facility that's like nearby. Also a Samsung that's like nearby. So although I can't look up and see how much something sold for there necessarily without having MLS access, I can still see activity that's happening in the market that makes that more attractive for me. The other thing too, like I said, to avoid that, every market I go into, I'm making friends. I know somebody in every state that I'm doing something in. I'm making friends, you know, behind the scenes because we can help each other. You know, I got agents that, you know, hey, they can tell me or help me understand the market better, you know, because we can help each other in business. So yeah, getting access to working with an agent is one way. There are some platforms where you can kind of see some stuff. I know on Redfin you can kind of see some stuff on there, but you know it's not like all like that easy to access. But yeah. Hope it answers your question.
Oh yeah.
Somebody else just asked, does the going with more and more states putting laws on wholesaling or whatever, does going the buyer first model or anything get you around that? Going, I mean, have you, and I know a lot of states it doesn't apply to land, but a lot of places are cracking down because the NAR is frankly scrambling and running for its life.
Yeah.
A lot of places are cracking down on sort of unlicensed dealers. Are you finding more of a challenge in that, or are you finding that's not really affecting you?
For me personally, it hasn't affected me not one bit. I haven't stopped anything over here. I think that it might affect some people. You have to, most stuff, if you get it done properly with just the contract agreements and being transparent, one of the biggest problems with people who wholesaling is that they go into these deals lying to people. You know, that's just be honest. That's what's causing all of this to happen. But for me, it hasn't affected me one bit. a part of the reason is because I'm not even really in the markets where that has been pushed like that. Like, I know in South Carolina that was apparently a thing. I think you guys are in Pennsylvania, so that's a thing. Hasn't really been a thing for
Okay.
me at all. I'm more so working in areas like Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. I've done a little bit of stuff in Texas, but hasn't been a thing in terms of like stopping me of how I'm working or nothing like that. I think that what I am seeing in the market, I can't say this, that a lot of buyers actually don't like working with wholesalers, right? Because they don't like the idea of somebody else controlling the contract. Sometimes it's depending on who they are. If it's a big buyer like D.R. Horton or something like that, sometimes they don't necessarily want to work with you, right? This is why relationship building is important. But it hasn't affected me necessarily. I think that there are going to be changes, like as your point, that are going to be drastic. But I think personally, there's a way to get around everything. Like, you can, in most places, you can still just double close. Like, if you have a lot that's on the contract, I'm sure Steve, you could find a transactional lender that'll help you get the deal done. So there's ways around that. Also, for me personally, like, I'm like I said, I'm not a one-trick pony. So I don't really care to wholesale like that, to be honest, anyway, because that's not long-term wealth for me. I only get paid one time off that transaction. I want to figure out a way to keep getting paid, or get paid more money at one time if I can, right? So like, there's lenders, or one of my strategies is I kind of go behind the scenes and I build relationships with people, and I have a way of raising private capital. We can buy the land, close on it together, put it on the market, and then split the profit. You see what I mean? Versus trying to wholesale it. That's a way to get around it. There's a lot of private money lending companies out here, people, so there's always a way. There's a way.
And what's your typical, and I know it's wholly different depending on where, but if you went to an entitlement service and said, hey, set me up for this, is there kind of like an average of what their company would say, okay, you want me to set you up for this development, get the entitlements done? It's, state cost plus $5,000, state cost plus $10,000. Is there like a ballpark on that, or is that kind of?
Yeah, that first I'll put the disclaimer up. You can really entitle it yourself, for real. You just have to know how to do it. It's just a step-by-step process in a way. We can definitely speak probably kind of going really in depth into that. But yeah, so like the way that would work, let's say you find a company that can do it for you. The way they typically work is, some of them, they have it to where it's like a hourly rate basis in a way, where let's say they have to do a certain thing for you, kind of run the numbers, whatever that might be. They might charge you like an hourly rate, like a consultant fee or something like that. You have some that'll give you they have like a fee based off of like a milestone base, what the project takes to get done. So let's say if they are doing a due diligence packet for you or something, they might have like a invoice, and then they go through this process where they do a feasibility study and all those things, and then after they get a certain milestone, they might bill you or something like that, right? So there's so many different ways, and not all of them are the same, but that's typically how it'll work. So yeah, but again, like a disclaimer, you can really do it yourself. If you know enough, and like I said, building a team first will kind of help you, because if you know the right players, like a land use attorney, an engineer, a surveyor, these type of people that work in accounting, it's a step-by-step process that you can take, that you can get that deal done. Now, I wouldn't advise going and finding a 30-acre project, maybe, or 50-acre project, and saying, you know what, on my first entitlement, I'm gonna do this one in a place that I'm not familiar with. You might run into some hiccups, right? But I would say definitely like build a team first, and you can do it. But that's typically how they charge you, though, or a variation of that.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anything else you want to add, or anybody else? Online is out of questions, so I got nothing.
So he can find land. You can find land here in Pennsylvania?
Can you find land up here in
Wholesale
PA?
land here?
Oh, you said, can I find land in PA?
Are you allowed to wholesale land here?
Steve,
Uh,
can you wholesale land?
Oh, yeah, the 1173 does not apply to land at all.
Okay, so he can do the work.
So it totally doesn't matter. Yeah. No, I was just asking because one of the Carolinas, I knew one of the Carolinas is all about, no, if you're not licensed, you're not in fact, one of them is pushing, if you're not a realtor, you can't play at all.
Yeah, I gotta figure out the clause. I forgot the clause. It's a way around it. I think I don't really operate in South Carolina too much like that. I mean, I've done some stuff, but I prefer North Carolina over South Carolina. But there's a clause in there. I'm pretty sure that I probably shouldn't say this, but because I don't know for sure. But I'm pretty sure the clause is basically saying that if you get a lot on the contract, you can't list it nowhere. Meaning you can't post it on Zillow, or you can't post it on online or nothing like that. I'm pretty sure that that's what that pretty much means. So people think that they can't wholesale at all because of that clause. Now they might have been updated. I think it was to where some title companies just don't even want to deal with it at all. So they just don't. So it kind of prevents people from wholesaling. Me personally, like I don't. My main markets have been Florida and North Carolina. I just kind of really got into Georgia, looking into like Indiana too, because I was born there, so I really want to try that. But yeah. So I think that might be that clause, but I would have to double check. Don't take my word for that though.
Yeah, and like I was talking with somebody who's apparently working on was it New Jersey or Maryland? I forget. They're being pushed by the NAR or the local state association that they don't want the license requirement. They want membership to the AR. And thankfully, they're getting pushed back on that in the State House, saying we can't favor any private organization. But I mean, a lot of these laws, I mean, that's the reason I'm making so much noise about 1173 is because the Association of Realtors is so motivated to push this. And that's why I wanted to understand. And I knew one of the Carolinas had something silly going on. But yeah, no, if you're doing land up here, no one cares.
I didn't know that. No, I thought it applied to everything. I'm not in Pennsylvania. Like I haven't done anything in that region too much. Like in like the Northeast like that. I've kind of stayed in the Southeast. I didn't know that didn't apply to land though. That's interesting.
Well, so in Pennsylvania, the original law says bringing two people together for purpose of doing a transaction needs a license. Assignment gets you around that. Equitable interest gets you around that. The new law says we don't care about no equitable interest if you're making money off equity for a property you don't hold the deed to. And remember, double close, you only hold the deed for about an hour at the other end. You don't hold it while you're marketing. That's where 1173 gets you, but they say only units 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's all they're targeting PA. So this is totally, kind of open season.
So basically, you guys can just wholesale land freely there, even though they have that clause.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually makes it great for y'all, honestly.
What?
I said that actually makes it like really attractive to do there because most people don't know that. They just automatically assume that you can't wholesale there at all. And plus, the Northeast region of the country is probably one of the least saturated markets for wholesaling. Most people who wholesale land, they're in like Southwest Florida, because there's been a big boom of like influencers promoting wholesale land. And most of them are like in the same region. But even that, I mean, it's still not as saturated as houses or, another niche in a state like Pennsylvania, where it's not like they stopped building houses. They're still building houses. So, there's still things that need to be moved. If there's a lack of overall wholesale activity there because people are in their houses, then land open season and like you said in Pennsylvania. I might have to actually look that up. I haven't actually looked too deep into Pennsylvania, but I will when I got the call though for sure.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. We can do PA together.
For sure.
All right. Yeah. I guess that's it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
No worries.
Do you want to put your contact info out or just get you online or?
Yeah. I I don't have a website like a direct website to me or nothing, but my name E100 Million. That's if y'all guys have Instagram, that's me on Instagram. I'm mostly on Facebook though, with just the name Eric M. If I don't pop up, I don't know why. Yeah, but I don't have like a direct
It's just all my
website.
friends working in there.
Yeah, or LinkedIn as well. I'm on there as well. So yeah, you should be able to find me. I should be pretty much easy to find though. You will see me a tall, dude with a white hoodie. You should probably see that somewhere on one of the platforms. But E100 Million, that's my Instagram. Shoot me a message there, and yeah, we definitely talk.
All right, cool, man. Thanks.
No problem. You guys have a good night. I don't know if you guys are good.
All right,
All
good
right,
night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Whew.
All right.